This is my 1990 K75s. I've had since '99. I was 19 years old when I got it, and I now need to do a lot of work to it. It's about 130,000 miles. Not really needed major work doing except for a new shaft drive, and that was the previous owner to me, about 60,000 miles. But there is a whole raft of things that need doing to this bike now. She's showing her age, and I think probably after nearly 20 years of ownership, it's about time I gave her a bit of a restoration and try and bring her back to her former glory. So I'm going to walk around the bike now and point out everything that I'm going to be doing to her over the next few months. Okay, so start from the front end. First and foremost, you can see the paintwork on the plastics is really tatty, so the plastics are going to be coming off, sanding down, priming, repainting, although I'm tempted to put some carbon wrap on the mudguards here and the belly pan. Coming onto the front tyre, it's really difficult to see here, but there is scalloping on this tyre, so even though it's, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 mil off the wear limit, it doesn't strictly need changing. This will be changed out just so it handles a bit better around corners, because like here for instance there is quite a scalloping difference between this bit and this bit. The front wheel itself is really quite old, and the aluminium's pitted on the inside of the rim and it keeps losing air. I have put some green gloop in this tubeless tyre, and it has managed to stop it from losing air. It was losing about 10 psi a week back in the winter. It's worse in the winter weather than it is the summer weather. However, I'm going to get this tyre off and then completely sand down the rims, rub them down so they're nice and smooth, and then lacquer the insides. Hopefully that will help stop this rim leak issue. If not, then I'll have to re-gloop it when I put the next tyre on. So, moving back on the bike, we've got more paintwork issues like a stone chip here. So all this is going to come off, all the fairing's going to come off, and I'm going to respray it. And good clean up on the forks. The fork oil was done not too long ago, so I'm going to leave those. Bike's handling just fine. I certainly know that once the tyre's done, she'll be good as gold. These things like here, like scuff in there, that are going to be sorted out again, filled, painted. I had a master cylinder leak, and as you can see it's scorched its way through the paintwork there, but the new master cylinder is just fine. That's quite solid. Little things like this here bubbling up, I'm going to take all that back, respray that. Down here, bit tricky to see, I think. Let's just pop it in, see if we can get a good angle. The problem is, as part of it being tricky to see, is actually why it needs replacing, is actually the oil sight glass is completely clouded over, so that's going to be redone. Interestingly, it's not actually a glass, it is actually plastic. I'm not too sure about whether I'm going to take off the engine covers yet and do this scuffing. Within a few years of me having, well, it had some scuffs already when I bought it, but also within a few years of me having it, I did drop it a couple of times. Touch wood, I've not dropped it for a long time. So, moving back here, plastics, again, this bracket here needs to come off and be painted. Here you can see the frame is all pitted and rusted, again painted. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with this rear shock yet. As you can see, it's kind of pitted and started flaking, but the shock on the inside is okay, it's still working just fine. So I probably might just tidy that up and give that a spray up. Main issue here with the rear drive, we can move around, you can see that the brake disc is covered in oil. And what's happened, if we look down here, the rubber seal has gone in this bevel here. I'm just trying to get a good sight for it. There we go. The rubber's gone in this bevel box for the seal. It needs to be pressed in properly with a tool. It's not something that I can do myself. So this whole unit is going to come off. Naturally, the splines are going to be greased. Everything will be lubed up. I'm going to need to replace the brake pads on the rear here because they've been covered in oil from the rear drive where it splashed out. So there's quite a lot of work to do on the back here. Back wheel rim itself actually is good. It doesn't lose any air at all, so that's just fine. I'll leave that as it is, and the tyre that's on there is good, so I don't particularly want to touch that. So we'll move round to the other side of the bike. As you can see, there's quite a lot of work that needs doing to it to tidy it up. Right, another one of the bigger jobs is this here. So you can see the tank is starting to go. This is a well-known place for tanks to rust out on the K-series. All the K-series suffer from this problem. If I pop it there, you can really see how badly the paint has bubbled up there. It's been doing that probably for about 4 years now, but it's got to a point where really it needs dealing with. So it's not actually leaking fuel yet, but I'm confident that shortly it will be, and it's better to catch it now. I know a couple of welders that can do this, but I do also have a replacement tank. It's not as good condition as this one, but it is going to be serviceable and keep the bike on the road whilst it's being fixed and changed out. I've got a new pump and fuel pipes and fuel filter to go in there as well. So moving down, I want to get the exhaust off. As you can see, these pipes here are really quite ratty. I'm going to try and see if I can clean them up, get them looking beautiful again. Whilst I'm under there, obviously I'll be changing out all the oils, filters, gearbox oil, and I'm going to change the brake fluids as well, because obviously that makes sense, and the coolants. Okay, right, here we are on the heat deflector. You see this here? It's all bubbling around the edges. Now here you can actually see a lump where I fixed it before with a thing called Abro steel putty, and what I think now is it's got to a stage where I'm going to see if I can get the welders to maybe weld patches over here to just try and save it. So each one of these have gone. The heat deflector, I like the heat deflector. It stops things from in my pannier bags from getting too hot, so I really do want to try and keep this. And that will be it for jobs on this 75. Once she is done, hopefully she'll look lovely. Obviously to me she always looks lovely, but she is quite tatty right now. Colour scheme wise, we're looking at sort of black and purple probably. About time to move away from this traditional onyx Schwartz, I think it's what it's called. And the beady-eyed amongst you will notice there's not a battery in there at the moment. It's because I'm getting her already, stripping down already. I wanted to take that out and put it on the trickle charger because it's going to be a few months now until she's back on the road again. Certainly hope to get her back on the road for autumn, winter, and then start using her as my main work bike, commuting bike again. So there we have it. Quite a few jobs to do on her. Quite looking forward to the challenges that she's going to give me, and hopefully she won't cost me too much in the process as well. And once she's all done, I'm sure she'll be running sweet and looking beautiful again. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll be posting more videos as I do each job on this bike.